You are standing in a dry lakebed in Kenya 10,000 years ago. The water is gone, the land is cracked, and scattered across the mud are 27 human skeletons. Some have arrowheads still lodged in their skulls. Some have their hands tied. One woman, heavily pregnant, was killed where she knelt. This is not a crime scene from last week. This is one of the oldest massacres ever found, and it might just be the moment humans invented war. So how did we get here? How did a peaceful, fruit-eating, tool-making species end up organizing mass killing on purpose? Stick around, because the answer is stranger, older, and way more uncomfortable than you'd expect. Let's rewind, way before spears, before language, even before humans as we know them existed. For millions of years, our ancestors lived in small groups, maybe 20, maybe 50 people. They fought, sure, fists flew, rocks got thrown, but that's not war. That's a bar fight. War needs something extra. It needs planning. It needs a group deciding together to hurt another group on purpose. And here's the twist. Scientists used to think war was invented alongside farming. Once humans settled down, built villages, and started owning stuff, that's when things got violent. Land to defend, grain to steal. Suddenly, murder made economic sense. But that lakebed in Kenya broke that theory completely. Those 27 skeletons, they were hunter-gatherers. No farms, no villages, no property in the way we think of it. The site is called Nataruk, and it was studied by archaeologist Marta Mirazon-Lar from the University of Cambridge. Her team published the findings in the journal Nature, and it sent a shockwave through the world of anthropology, because if hunter-gatherers with basically nothing to steal were already organizing group violence, then war might be older than farming, older than cities, maybe even older than civilization itself. So what actually flips the switch? What turns a species from throwing punches into planning murder? You only need three things, and you already have all three right now in your own brain. First, a group you belong to. Second, a group you don't. Third, something worth fighting over. That's it. That's the whole recipe. And here's the terrifying part. You don't even need a reason to activate the first two. Scientists once took a room full of total strangers and split them into two teams using a coin flip. Nothing else. No history, no rivalry, no real difference between them. Minutes later, people were already favoring their own team, already being colder to the other one. A coin flip did that. Now stop imagining a lab and imagine the coin flip is drought. The coin flip is a river drying up or the last herd of animals moving onto land another group controls. That's exactly what was happening at Nataruk. The climate had shifted, water vanished. Two groups were suddenly forced to fight over what little was left. And when survival is on the line, your brain doesn't pause to ask, is this fair? It just asks one question, us or them? Flip that switch and cooperation turns into something else entirely. But here's where the story gets genuinely creepy. You'd assume war needs a villain, some cruel leader whispering evil ideas into people's ears. It doesn't. Watch chimpanzees for long enough, and you'll see something that should not exist in nature. Small groups of males slip quietly into a rival territory, not screaming, not angry, just patrolling. If they find a lone chimp from the other group, they don't chase him off. They surround him and they kill him together, calmly, like it's a routine. Primatologist Richard Wrangham documented this behavior for years, and his research points to something unsettling. This might not be a chimpanzee glitch. It might be a shared inheritance, a strategy older than humans themselves, passed down long before we ever picked up a spear. Which means the seeds of war weren't invented by us. They were already there, waiting. Okay, pause. Because right now you might be thinking, great, so we're doomed. Thanks evolution. Not so fast, because the story has an escape hatch. Plenty of groups facing the exact same pressure chose differently. Same drought, same shrinking resources, same strangers on the horizon. And instead of raiding, they traded. Instead of killing, they merged. Instead of war, they invented something almost as old, the deal. So violence was never guaranteed. Something else had to pull the trigger. And that something is the third ingredient. Value. The moment humans learned to store grain, herd animals, and grow crops, everything changed overnight. For the first time in human history, there was something actually worth stealing. A pile of grain wasn't just food anymore. It was a target. This is the exact moment war stops being occasional and becomes a machine. Because a raid isn't just, let's eat today anymore. It's, let's control this for a year, for a generation. And once a group realizes violence can buy long-term power, not just a meal, war stops being desperate. desperate, it becomes a plan, and you can literally see this shift in the dirt, because this is when the walls show up, not decorative walls, ditches, spikes, watchtowers, actual military architecture built by people who fully expected someone to try to break in. Think about what that means. Somebody somewhere looked at their neighbors and thought, they're coming for us, so we better build first. And the second walls exist, weapons evolve to break them, which forces even better walls, which forces even sharper weapons. Congratulations, humanity. You just built the world's first arms race, thousands of years before anyone invented the wheel. But here's the twist that actually messes with your head. War didn't just require violence, it required trust. To organize a raid, you need people willing to risk their lives for the group. You need loyalty. You need people who love each other enough to die side by side. The same wiring that lets you build a hospital, write a song, or raise someone else's child is the exact same wiring that let ancient humans plan a massacre. Empathy and war grew from the same root. Nobody tells you that part in school. We didn't become capable of war because we lost our humanity. We became capable of war because of it. So picture that lakebed in Kenya one more time. 27 bodies, bound hands, a pregnant woman who never got to raise her child. That wasn't chaos. Researchers believe it was targeted, planned, carried out by a group working together on purpose. It's not a monster story, it's a mirror. Every ingredient that led to that moment, belonging, fear of outsiders, loyalty, strategy, is still sitting in your brain right now watching this video. The only difference between you and that hunter-gatherer isn't your wiring, it's your choices. So here's the takeaway. War wasn't invented in one dark moment by one evil person. It was built piece by piece out of some of the most human traits we own: belonging, loyalty, fear, and the will to protect what we love. The unsettling part isn't that we're capable of violence. The unsettling part is that the same instincts that cause war are the ones that build families, nations, and civilizations. That doesn't make history less dark, but it does make it a whole lot less mysterious. And understanding where this instinct comes from might be the first real step to overriding it. If this changed how you see human history, drop a comment and tell me. And if you want to go even deeper into the hidden wiring behind human behavior, there's another video waiting for you right now. And trust me, you're gonna want to watch it next.